as a man that's over 35 with no kids, I can tell you the first thing ain't no man with no kids looking for is to go find a woman with kids. I ain't
Right.
never been
Right.
I ain't never in my life said, man, you know what today, man, I need to go find that woman that got 2 or 3 kids.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a
That
couple
ain't never happened.
it's a couple simps out there, you know. It's a couple out there.
Yeah.
Hey,
We bouncing. All right, here we go.
Welcome to High Value Hustle. I'm your co-host, BIG GOAT, the biggest, no chill Will, and a special guest, Mr. Third Person himself, D. Harris,
hey, what up? What
Live in effect, fellas. I'm on here
up?
trying to make it happen.
Orlando's very own. You already know. All right, so we're about to get into this video real quick. Question is it a wrap for women over the age of 35 when it comes to relationships and getting married?
For the age of 25. By the age of 35, literally no man's gonna want you. Let's talk about why this is the biggest load of BS. So my mutual Cecilia Regina, who I'm tagging below, is doing a series this week on how when it comes to the wealthiest men in the world, older women are the prize. And I'd just like to add some more examples to this conversation. So one of the examples that Cecilia gave was Jeff Bezos, who's arguably the wealthiest man in the world. And his current fiance, Lauren Sanchez, who's 53. Dr. Moyo, who was 50 when she married her billionaire husband. Melody Hobson, who was 44 when she married her billionaire husband, George Lucas. So far, what do we have in common? Intelligence, drive, and success. I'd also like to add Amal Clooney, who was 36 years old when she married actor George Clooney. Serena Williams was 36 when she married her Reddit co-founder and billionaire husband, Alexis Ohanian. Now, if we're talking about the highest echelons of society, you want to get down to royalty? No further than Princess Angela of Liechtenstein. She literally married Prince Maximilian of Liechtenstein when she was 41 years old. 41 people! And she did not give birth to Prince Alphonse until she was 42 years old. She met Prince Maximilian at a party because she was in the right circles. She was a highly accomplished fashion designer, she went to Parsons, and she was in the right rooms. And even more famously, we have Meghan Markle, who was 36 when she married Prince Harry, and didn't have Prince Archie until she was 37. When it comes to success, a lot of these people didn't meet until their mid-30s at the earliest, once they started to reap the benefits of their years of work. All these women are highly accomplished, intelligent women who stand on their own. So when society is saying that women expire at a certain age, ask yourself, does society have it together? Is society doing so great?
Interesting.
All right, we back. All right, fellas. I'm going to start with you, D. Harry, man. What's your thoughts, man? What you got?
Um, Total bullshit. It's something that she didn't put into that. It's kind of like scrolling out all the people that win a lotto. And I'm like, hey, you see this person, they won 100 million, 200. They never tell about all the people that lost along the way. And it's so she's showing the example of some women that have succeeded in that ramp. Uh, One thing she didn't mention, most of those guys, or some of those guys was 10 to 20 years, the women senior as well. So some of those guys, they married, like the Lucases in the world, they might be an age gap of 10, 15, 20 years different as well. And so the women that was finding those guys, these are actually younger women to those guys. If you 50 and you marry a 30-year-old, she's 20 years younger than you. Or if she, like in the video, she talking about after 35, some of those guys, if I'm 55 and I marry a 35-year-old, she's still a younger woman to me. But in that same age bracket and same dynamic of marrying another 30-year-old or 25-year-old with just an amount of success, it's normally don't go that way. Because traditionally, when she was talking about values, because I can speak for myself, I'm not married, I do well for myself. When you look at that, a lot of women at that age, you're going to wonder, first of all, do they have kids? What is their past? What is different situations? And are you willing to take those issues at that age on? That's why the stereotype or the stereotypical thing is to be out there to say at the age of 35, the value do start to go down at some point. It does. You're not as valuable. It's just as simple. Say if you want to have kids, it's a lot harder for a woman 35 to 45 to have a kid than it is from a woman 21 to 30. That's a medical fact. And if you're a man and you want your lineage to go on, what they don't say about some of the women that get pregnant, they have hard pregnancies after the age of 35.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't talk about some of those guys ain't looking to have no more kids. That's why Jeff Bezos can go. He's done, and he's not trying to have more kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jordan Lucas, he probably got grandkids. He ain't trying to have more kids. You know, so it's things like that they don't bring into that scope of thinking, because when you roll out the 1% of less than 1% of that stuff works for, you got to at least talk about the 99% of the people it doesn't work for. It don't.
That's good insight. Will, what you got?
Man, that was some good insight, D. When that age gap, they get to 35 to 40, you ask yourself, how many good men did they reject during that
Mm,
time period? How many good men approached them and were there and really wanted to be in a relationship with them or to potentially marry them, and they rejected those particular men? So that's why I never feel sorry for a woman that says, hey, there's no good men out there. Hey, I can't get this, I can't get that. But because you rejected like 20 other guys within the past 10, 15 years that were suitable for you. So now you think you're going to come in and be 35 to 40 and expect to get a high net worth individual. It just does not work that way. You have to make your choices early in life, early in your age. Because if you wait too long, you're going to decline. You can't come back around after that man built himself up, built his net worth, and say, hey, I'm ready to be in a relationship now. As we
right.
say, go, if they don't accept you in their prime,
Don't accept them and they decline.
that's it. Hey, that's it. Hey, listen.
Hey, I'm on the
That's
pod. Don't
it.
accept it and they
Hey, that's
decline.
it. That's it. Well, we don't accept it and they decline. We
Fact.
just can't do it. We just can't do it, man.
That's an unfortunate thing. But I think what the video is trying to do is kind of give women hope that it, but that's the thing. Everybody knows it's possible. Yes, it's we're not saying it's impossible once you're over the age of 35 to find somebody that's going to marry you. It's not. We're just saying that the likelihood
Yeah.
is not looking very good once you get over
It's
that
not
certain
probable.
age.
It's not
For
probable.
in particular, a man that is closer to your age to
Right.
marry. That's what we're talking about. Now, if you're talking about some 50-year-old,
Yeah.
45-year-old, yeah, you're going to have a better chance. They're probably going to marry you because they're probably in the phase of their life where they're not going to want particular things, i.e., the example D gave, kids, things of that nature. They're good. They had all the kids that they wanted. Now they just want someone really to be their companion that they can live out the rest of their life with. But if you're talking about you 30 over 35 as a woman and you're looking for another 35-year-old, possibly even someone that's 40, they're not really going to be looking at you.
Nah.
They're going to be
No.
looking at
Right.
something a lot younger.
Of
Mm-hmm.
course.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that they can have new experiences with. Like what is like, come on. Like you old, you 35, like we were saying age, I'm like, you probably been through other relationships,
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
bringing in baggage to a new relationship. You probably experienced a lot of things. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying we can't have a great relationship, but there's not too many things that we can experience together that we can say, oh man, this is a new experience, man.
Right.
One of us haven't ever experienced this and
Right.
taking
Yeah.
and providing that experience to the other person. Whereas if I go get a younger person, I know we probably don't have we probably haven't experienced the same things. She's probably hasn't experienced some of the things that I've experienced in life. Oh, now we can go experience it together, and it'll be a totally new experience that we both can cherish and
Right.
remember. So
Mm-hmm.
I, I don't know.
And one of the things that she didn't mention on there is few of those women that I can think of, at least two of them, if I recall correctly, have been married before.
Yeah.
You
What's
know,
that?
she's talking about the one that was married to the Prince Harry. She was
Prince
married
Harry.
before,
Yeah. She was married and divorced.
and
Correct.
I believe even the one with Jeff Bezos, I don't quote me on that. I believe that she was married at one time before too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like so these people that they's talking about, these ain't 35-year-old women that ain't never been. These women that have some already baggage picked up. These ain't like, oh, I'm just a 35-year-old woman. I have waiting for my Miss Mr. Millionaire got to come pick me up and he's still valuing me. Nah, you
Mm-hmm.
had already picked up another man that you thought was supposed to be the end all and be all, and that didn't happen. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so it's a lot more dynamics to that. And I think that's a bigger issue as a whole. And the world is the word I'm starting to understand it, unrealistic expectations. You can have an expectation of something, right? That maybe after 35 I can say fine. But it's an unrealistic expectation to hold that you're gonna find a man probably of that type of value, you know, that was willing to take on some of those things, or more importantly, pick you out of the gutter, so to speak. Because you mentioned some of the wealthiest people in the world, or most powerful people. What
Mm-hmm.
about the other millions of women
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that are not gonna get picked? You know,
Yeah.
that's 35, because she didn't mention just not at 35, ladies. At 35, normally at that age, you might have already had like some of those women relationship, marriage, and kids.
Mm-hmm.
You and kids, you know. So I don't know too many 35-year-old women without kids.
Yeah. 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 It's not a lot of them. It's
Eh,
not a lot
you
of them.
know, and as a man that's over 35 with no kids, I can tell you the first thing ain't no man with no kids looking for is to go find a woman with kids. I ain't
But
never been
but
I ain't never in my life said, man, you know what, today, man, I need to go find that woman that got 2 or 3 kids.
well,
Wow.
it's a
That
couple
ain't never happened.
it's a couple simps out there, you know. It's a couple out there.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, but listen though. And one thing, you didn't mention, all these women are in those wealthy inner circles. These are not
Right.
average women, right? There's a world-renowned tennis star and
She's
Serena
a millionaire
Williams.
already.
Come on now, really? Stop it. There's a world-renowned designer. They
Right.
are in these inner circles. These are not regular people here. So you're gonna date people that are in your inner circle.
Right.
They doing these examples. These regular women would never be in these inner circles, so they're never gonna get chosen. So it's a pointless example. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so let me ask y'all this question, because a lot of times when I think about this conversation, when it comes to women 35 or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's easier for women, a black woman over 35, to find a man, or to get a man and get a relation, get married, versus another another subset of women, whether Hispanic or white woman, whatever you think it may be? Because
Well,
I like to think that this particular issue we're discussing is one that's prominent in the black community when it comes to black women.
right. And it has a lot, is I think, depending on where that woman is and why they're there at 35, right? Why are you available at 35? Are you available? Do you got 4 kids from 4 different men? Or are you available because you try to get married, it didn't work. You maybe had a kid or two, and y'all didn't work, but y'all met young at 18 and you was with him since high school. It's a lot of different dynamics in that. And when I find in the black community, more than anything, a lot of the women I meet, they are having these kids already before they are already married. So when you meet them, it's a different dynamic, because you got to think. I don't know the statistics nowadays, but almost 80% of black kids are had out of wedlock to start.
I just think it just depends what household they came from. Was the father in the home? Did they come from a two-parent household? Did they see marriage? Did they see commitment? Did they see, kids being born into marriage and not out of wedlock? I come to find that a lot of times, statistically, people that had kids out of wedlock, more than likely, their parents had kids out of wedlock. Their cousins, their auntie, so life, it just becomes normal. It's
Right.
normalized. Hey, I'm gonna have this kid, and I'm gonna go with this guy and have another kid and go. It's like what? Like it's no structure here. So I find it, there's no standard put on the men to say, look, if you want a child with me, you're gonna have to marry me. Fuck it. This is just what it is. And if that standard is put on men, it's going to be less kids and it's going to be more marriages. Now, not to say all of them are going to work out, but at least you can say, look, I was married, we divorced, and we had this kid. It's a whole different level of respect that is,
That part.
in that issue. You're more likely going to find somebody that respects you and say, okay, well, you weren't married, you just weren't out here just having these kids. At least somebody did want to marry you and did marry you. You know what I'm saying? So it really puts you at a different tier than a woman that just having these kids out of wedlock out here, man. It's just not a good thing to do.
Facts.
Man, great conversation. Great conversation. Well, I think that's it. I don't know if you guys had anything else to provide. You had some advice for these women that's over 35. On previous episode, I called them old hags and got some flack for that.
Hey, tell them. Well, I got one thing to say. Women over 35, don't overvalue yourself, because don't nobody want that old. You know. You know. And I'm just saying, majority don't overvalue that stuff, because it done been used and abused by that point. Know your value, understand your worth, understand that guys with money, the only thing we like old is money. Our money to be old. We don't want our. Those are facts. Y'all might have to. Those are facts.
We done. Oh my God, we're finished.
That's
bro.
it, fellas. But it's been real. Thanks for having me, fellas. Y'all have a good night, and I'll touch bases with y'all another time.
All right, man.
All right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yo.
Yeah.
Those opinions are opinions of D. Henry and not that of.
I don't know what you're talking about there.
Either way, though, thank y'all for tuning in to High Value Hustle. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow, get bigger, so we can provide more content, better, more engaging content. And yeah, that's what we got, man. Catch y'all next episode.
We out.
Thank you for watching High Value Hustle. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our content.